Hey everyone, ever look at a stock chart and feel like you're trying to read an alien language? You are definitely not alone. But today, we are going to crack the code. We're going to focus on two of the most important clues on any chart, price and volume. And I promise, by the end of this, you'll see the story they're telling. So, let's dive in.
I mean, seriously, just look at it. At first glance, it can be pretty overwhelming, right? All those lines, those bars, the colors, it's a lot. But what if I told you it's not nearly as complicated as it looks? With just a few key ideas, you can start to see what's really going on. You know, the best way to think about this is to stop seeing it as a puzzle and start seeing it as a map, a roadmap for your investments. It's a guide that shows you exactly where a stock has been, and more importantly, it can drop some major hints about where it might be going next. And just like any map, a stock chart has its own legend, its own key symbols. Once you learn to read them, you can navigate with a whole lot more confidence. So let's start with the absolute basics. Okay, so at its heart, every single stock chart is just a simple grid. You've got the price running up and down on the vertical axis, and you've got time stretching out along the horizontal axis. That's it. It's just a super clear way to see how a stock's price moved over time, whether it's 1 day or 10 years. All right, now that we've got the lay of the land, let's zoom in. You see all those little vertical lines on the chart? Each one of those is called a price bar, and each one tells the story of a single day of trading. This is where the action is. Think of each price bar like a mini story of the day. The very top of that bar, that's the highest price the stock reached all day. It's the peak of the mountain for that trading session. And you guessed it, the very bottom of that same bar shows you the lowest price of the day. So that whole vertical line just at a glance tells you the entire price range the stock bounced between for that day. Now see that little horizontal tick mark sticking out from the bar? That, my friends, is the closing price. It's the final price of the day when the bell rings, and it's a huge deal because it's the official price that goes in the record books for that day.
The colors are basically your cheat sheet. If you see a blue bar, that means the stock closed higher than it did the day before. A good day. If you see a red bar, it means it closed lower. Not so good. It's a super simple, instant visual cue for which way things are heading. Okay, so we've got price down. Now let's talk about the second critical piece of the puzzle, volume. If price tells you where the car is going on a roadmap, volume tells you how much traffic is on that road. It tells you about the power behind the move. And volume is way more than just a number. It's really a measure of supply and demand. It tells you how many people are buying versus selling, and it's also a big clue as to whether the big money, we're talking large institutions, are getting in on the action. So what is volume exactly? It's simply the total number of shares that changed hands on a given day. The taller that volume bar at the bottom of the chart, the more shares were bought and sold. It's a direct measure of how busy the market was for that stock. And you'll always find these volume bars right there at the bottom of the chart, lined up perfectly with each day's price bar. This is so important because you can immediately see the relationship between what the price did and how many people were trading it. Here's the best way to think about it. Volume is all about conviction. A price move on really high volume is like someone shouting. It's loud, it's clear, and you pay attention. But a move on low volume, that's more like a whisper. It's easy to ignore, and it might not really mean much. All right, this is where it all comes together. This is the fun part. When you start looking at price and volume together, you can really see the full story. It's like putting on 3D glasses. Suddenly, everything gets way clearer. If you remember one thing from today, let it be this. Price tells you what happened, but volume tells you how much it matters. It's the difference between a tiny little tremor and a full-blown earthquake. So, what's a really good sign look like? It's simple. You see the price rising, and you see a big, heavy volume bar underneath it. That is a classic sign of strength. It's telling you that a lot of buyers are jumping in with real conviction. And on the flip side, what's a warning sign? A falling price on heavy volume. That's a classic bearish signal. It's a sign of weakness, and it tells you that a lot of people are selling and heading for the exits. But what if the volume is light? Well, whether the price is going up or down, low volume is a sign of weakness. It means there's just not a lot of oomph behind the move. There isn't much conviction from other investors, so you probably shouldn't put too much faith in that move either. And that's it. Those are the absolute basics of reading a stock chart. You now have the fundamental tools to start understanding the language of the market and making smarter, more informed decisions. So let's do a super quick recap. The price bar gives you the day's full range.
The color gives you the direction, up or down. Volume tells you how much conviction is behind that move. And when you put price and volume together, you get the real story of supply and demand.
You now have the keys to unlock the stories hidden in these charts. The next time you pull one up, you won't just see a bunch of lines and bars anymore. You'll see a story playing out, a story of supply and demand, of optimism and fear. So what are you waiting for? Go start reading.